Hello, beautiful sunshines. Welcome to Now That's Love.
With your favorite mother-daughter duo, Ashlyn and
Janae LaFleur, where you get to know thyself, love thyself, and become the best version of self.
Because the greatest love story that you are ever going to tell is the one you create with yourself every day.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, welcome to Now That's Love.
We're doing things a little bit different today.
Yes, we're finally back together. Today we are going to be talking all about falling into self-love. Just in time for fall. We're like, let's add a cute little symbolism there.
Yes. And we have 7 amazing tips and practices that you can do and that we've done, and they are game changers. And this is what we have found has helped us the most to connect within ourselves. And no matter what's going on around us, right?
Yeah.
We have this confidence that we can, like, this too shall pass. And there's this compassion. So we're going to talk about 7 things that you can start practicing today. You can choose, start small, start big, whatever you're feeling, right? But we're going to fall in love with ourselves.
And this will also help with your boundaries and codependency. Once we started doing this, it showed that you won't let anything pass by because it's like you love yourself so deeply. It's like how someone talks to you, you're like, that's not okay because I would not talk to myself that way.
Yeah.
So the first thing on our list is gratitude. And yes, we did a podcast to this, so you can go back. I think it's about 10 back. But it's good to enjoy where you're at in the moment. It's so like where you're at right now, just be okay with it and appreciate yourself in that moment too.
Right. Just acknowledging that, this is where I'm at, and I am appreciating all of me for just who I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
Not doing the critical thing, which we'll be talking more about. So it's noticing the things you're grateful for about yourself, the things that you're doing for yourself, appreciation for yourself.
Yes.
And not having to have it be externally done. You're doing it for yourself. Like, oh, I'm so grateful that I made these choices. I'm so grateful for how I'm doing this with food, or I'm so grateful I decided to exercise today. And we're going to be talking more about that too. We're going to be leading into this. They all kind of go together in a way that it's just amazing, right?
Yeah. And we have our gratitude journals too to help give you guides every day for that. That's on our Amazon. That will be linked below. Yeah. And then number 2 on our list, don't attach to every thought. And this is something I've really had to do, of realizing I'm not my thoughts. Something will pop into my mind, and like we talked about in a previous podcast, it's little Coco, it's little Fifi. It's that little chapping chihuahua in your head, and just take it for that.
Yeah. And so the spiritual practice here is when you notice a thought, you're noticing the thought, and you say, oh my gosh, I'm such an idiot, or I'm never going to be able to accomplish this, I'm a loser. Whatever these things that come into your head, that pop into your head, renounce them at that moment. It's like, stop. That is not true. That is not true. And then have this beautiful compassion come in, and we say forgiveness, but just releasing it and saying, if I was to say, oh my gosh, that was such an idiotic move, then I'd say, stop. Like, I don't talk to myself like that. And I forgive myself for even when that happens. So I'm releasing it because actually I'm pretty dang smart.
Yes.
I'm wise. And I'm divine essence. And so I know if God's not an idiot, and I'm not an idiot. So just renouncing it, just instantly renouncing it. This becomes a practice that can be a game changer, where you literally can be having a thought just automatically pop up, and your brain is already saying, stop, that's not true. And it just falls through. And it's one of the coolest things to see when I've had my brain do it for me. I'm like, oh, that is so cool. And then I go into the gratitude and appreciation. You just stick up for yourself.
Well, I think too, even I've noticed that if you're struggling to talk to yourself in a nice way and also not attaching to every thought, pretend that you're talking to your friend or your child. And if your child came to you and said, I'm just such an idiot, or I'm stupid, or I'm never good enough, or even your best friend, and your friend came up to you and just was like, saying all those silly thoughts that you say to yourself on a daily basis before doing these practices, what would you say to your friend? Would you say, "Oh yeah, you're so right," and like go into it? Right. No, be like, "No, you're so smart. Look at all the things that you've done. You are in just such a beautiful place right now, and even if you are going through a terrible, crazy time right now, you'll notice the different connections of where you're at."
Right. And I think the thing that I've really stepped into lately is just self-compassion.
Mm-hmm.
That is the root of like letting your self-love grow. Of like, you know what? I'm having so much compassion that I'm in the circumstance and the choices or whatever I've made. I have so much compassion for myself, and I'm going to get through this. This too shall pass, I'll say to myself. And I love you, Janae. I love you for all that you're doing, because you're choosing, you're really wanting happiness. And that shows me right there that you actually really love yourself, because if you didn't, you wouldn't care.
Mm-hmm.
So,
no, that's spot on. Number 3, like we've said, stop self-criticism. Judging yourself and others just constantly. It doesn't get you anywhere.
Right. And self-practice here is when you're loving on somebody, say it's your child or your significant other or your mother, you're giving this beautiful love to them. As you're doing it, be in that moment in awareness and say, you know what? And I can give the same love to myself.
Mm-hmm.
I can give the same love to myself. So you're witnessing, you're snuggling your son, or you're sending a little love note to your, significant other. And I can do this to myself. So, I just told him this thing about how much I appreciate. So what do I appreciate about myself? Mm-hmm. Like turning it back on you and doing the mirroring. Instead of the judgment mirroring, do the self-love mirroring, the love mirroring. And it's just a beautiful spiritual practice. I call it spiritual fitness practice that you can implement. Just notice yourself when you're giving love. And it can be the simple things of even just like loving a person in the library, just being kind to somebody in the library. Oh, I can mirror this back to me. I can do this kindness back to myself. Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, I feel like self-criticism can come from so many different points. It's like we've talked about even just in our childhood. If we had a very critical parent, or they always expected perfection, even in religion, I feel like that's where a lot of my self-criticism came from, of never being good enough, always trying to reach that destination and being so hard and perfectionist because I'm not at that destination where I thought I was going to be. So shutting that down and just talking, like we said, talking really kindly to yourself and not being your worst freaking critic.
Right. There's 3 components that literally wired us this way. It started with home, being the judgment stuff that happened in our home. It went, if there was a religion involved, and there's goodness in religion, but there's also the dark side of, a lot of the judgment and the criticism and not good enough. Then there was schooling. And so you could be being tested on history, and it's not your thing. And you're supposed to remember how much water fell in Montana, and you get an F on your grade, and it feels like you're not good enough. It starts in these 3 factors. And so this is where you get to come around and just be that, loving nature to yourself, and getting into now, this present moment, and doing some of these practices. Mm-hmm. This is where you get to change your life. This is where you get to show up differently. Yeah. And let go of some of the beliefs that we've been implanted in that aren't our truth. They're not our truth anymore.
A brief interruption of this podcast to introduce.
Are you looking for something that not only looks beautiful, but feels meaningful? Welcome to Now That's Love on Etsy, where we uniquely create every item as a reminder to breathe, to pause, and embrace self-love.
From an array of fashion selections to calming home accents, these pieces are designed to be anchors in your life. Anchors that help you stay grounded in the present moment, triggering those little sparks of self-love, joy, and mindfulness.
Want even more? Follow us on Instagram at Now That's Love for exclusive sales, special promotions, and behind-the-scenes content that brings you closer to the heart of our creations. You won't want to miss out.
So, whether you're gifting a little love to yourself or someone special, remember, life is all about those small, meaningful, loving moments. And Now That's Love is here to help you. Visit us on Etsy today. Your anchor to self-love is just a click away.
Check out the link in the description below to visit our Etsy shop. Yeah. And number 4 would be to take care of your body. Moving your body and just recognizing the food that you're putting into your body. I think this is something that has hit me more and more. Just after I work out or after I did yoga in the morning, feel like record it, journal it, or just really remember how you feel in that moment. I think that's something that I did during like yoga, where I stopped doing it for a week. And I'm like, gosh, I feel like a little off. Why do I feel so off? And then I hopped back into it. And I'm like, I felt so energized. That was whenever I did my podcast, my solo podcast, and all these divine intuitive things were coming to me because I was moving my body. I ate really healthy that day too. And whenever you recognize those things of how it makes you feel, it's not even just doing it for your health, but for your mindset as well. I think that was just the key thing for me.
You're taking care of your body. This is your temple. This is the vessel that lets you move around and live. And there's just this respect. Where does so much of our suffering come from? In the fact that we've eaten certain foods we don't even understand. Like, it might be the self-criticism of I shouldn't have eaten this, but really what it comes down to is, what is the energy flow that this food has given me? This, in this last year, has been completely game changing for me, of being really aware of what foods that can literally make you wake up and be sad. There's foods that can give you anxiety. There's foods that make you have no energy for the next day to do anything, and you just want to sit and lounge. And then there's this big self-criticism and judgment that happens, and you're going in this vicious cycle. And it's just like, I am the one that mindfully chooses what is going to go into my mouth, and I'm the one that, with all the stress or different things, I have a choice to even go for a walk, even a 10-minute walk. Being within yourself. This is like such a bigger than just mental, right, and physical practice. It's a spiritual practice. And the more you do it, the more you see how things and foods are affecting our intuition, our self-worth, our self-love. And this is so much bigger than I ever even saw it as, like a nutrition and fitness coach for years. Once I implemented this in, it was like just my spirit knew what I needed to eat. It was intuitive practice. I used to look at things like intuitive eating and think, what's intuitive eating? Like, I need to know the macros. I need to know this. And really, it came down to my spirit knew what my body needed. My body they were communicating with each other.
Yeah, and recent studies too have also found that, like, also going with like your culture of foods can also help out, like with spices that have run in your culture, maybe kind of even help with your microbiomes in your body. So kind of going back to your roots. So something that my husband might like really benefit him is not going to benefit me. So like you said, go with your intuition, go with like your ancestral roots of what your body is supposed to eat. And spices too, there's different spices. Turmerics can help out. They've done so many studies on turmeric, ashwagandha, all those different things can really benefit you once you kind of like look into the research of what it can do for your body.
Take care of your body, and it helps take care of your mind. And it's the vessel of like just productivity and just really truly living your purpose and your dharma. Know thyself. We say know thyself. Know what your body wants. It's sacred. It is a gift that we have been given to have a human experience.
Well, isn't it the truth too that like whenever your health is taken away, you realize, like, you're laying in bed and you're sick with the cold or flu, and you're like, I took my health for granted for so long. Why did and you can't move, you can't do anything. So taking care of your body so you can do these things, so you can benefit the world, so you can bring love out into the world, because if you don't take care of your body, then you're just going to be.
Well, our body's always talking to us.
Mm-hmm.
So if we are getting sick often, we are having headaches often, it's saying,
Mm-hmm.
hey, something you're doing isn't right.
Yeah.
Something that you're giving me, or you're really stressed, you're not being in that mindful moment of like taking care of your thoughts. I'm keeping score. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
can't sleep, so it's all, it all comes down to it. And like all of a sudden we're living this like suffering life.
Yeah.
And it can be, there's people out there that are multimillionaires that find themselves very sickly,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd give all their money away for health. So
Yeah.
this is like such a huge thing.
And that also connects to the energy centers that we'll be talking about in a couple episodes from now. On to number 5, self-talk. So the I love you practice, the affirmations. And this is something that if you have just left a toxic relationship, whether it was a friend, relationship, do this immediately, every single day. I do not care. I am telling you now, out of all these things, if you just left that, write it down. Oh my gosh, I remember after leaving certain, like actually both my toxic relationships, I literally had sticky notes that I would write. It was like a 30-day transformation on this one too for myself. I wrote down sticky notes about myself and what I loved about myself, even if it's just something so small. I'm smart. Put a sticky note on my mirror.
I'm so beautiful.
Yeah, I'm so beautiful. I love myself.
I have talents.
So all the little things that you just are like, that knocked you for a loop, or maybe you were gaslit on during those relationships, really put that love into yourself.
Yeah, and you're not going to feel it in the beginning because you are cremated.
Yes.
So your brain's not going to know the difference. So you're just going to start saying that maybe I love you a little bit more today.
Mm-hmm.
And you may not feel it, but start to say it with conviction. This can actually completely shift in 3 days. Okay. It can shift in 2 days. And do it in the mirror, because then when you see a mirror, your mind is automatically going to start saying, I love you. I would get in my car and I look in the rearview mirror to back up. And then my brain was already saying, I love you. I had trained my brain, and I get this smile on my face. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in this situation that's going on in my life, but my brain's working for me and my spirit, and everything's coming together. This is a practice you should do daily.
Yes.
It really is, because the suffering and the different things, your ego popping in and your old ways, is kind of difficult when you're really deep into the affirmations of like, I am. The I am is very powerful. I am intelligent. Yes. I am worthy of love. I am this amazing person that has a bright light that shines over this world. I am grateful for all that I have, that I am. And I am so in love with who I am becoming. I am so in love with who I am right now. Mm-hmm. These were the things that I had said. And there's a woman out there, Louise Hay, that has 101 affirmations. And I used to just play those. I get up in the morning instead of anything else. I'd push her thing, get in the shower. And I was like, yeah, here's my I am. I'm going to the I am love moment. And it's a very beneficial thing.
And I'd like to mention too, for this part, I think that a lot of people can get it misconstrued with being cocky. And because I felt like whenever I was doing it, I'm like, oh my gosh, is this like my ego talking? Like, I'm so amazing. I'm so fantastic. But if you're not telling this to yourself, first of all, who else is going to tell you? But then you're just going to take everyone's outer opinion of you and soak it all in. So you need to make sure you have like these affirmations down. No, I am smart. So if someone comes up to you and says you're stupid, you're going to be like, nah, I'm smart. I've said my affirmations. Or that you can't amount to anything. Things that people say that are a big deal, or you know for a fact in your soul, in your mind, you've been programming your brain. And a lot of times too, people think that, oh, the programming stops when you're a teenager. No, you can be 50, 60, 70 years old, and you can still program your mind to believe these things. You're not, a lot of things are programmed in our brain as a young age, but more studies have found that we can still reprogram our brain. We can still go along and be like, I can change.
Yeah,
I can
I don't have to stay here.
No.
I'm not, and you don't want to stay in a place where you're actually needing all these people to validate you. And
can lead you to a dark place.
Well, it does. And before you know it, you are going down so many different paths because this person thinks you should be this and this person thinks you should do that. And it's really your all knowing. It's so beautiful when you connect in with that you do feel off. Like you'll start to recognize, I feel off. Where do I need to step in with compassion? I always say, like, it will start with an emotion right here. Then it's in your head. What are the thoughts that are creating this emotion? And then go ahead and take it into your journal and journal it out, or dictate it like on a memo and say, this is like what that. I'm feeling, like this is what I'm thinking right now. You're hearing yourself back and you're like,
you know what one of my friends did too recently? Because she's just affirmation queen. Love her. And what she would do is she actually recorded her voice on her thing. And you can even press stop, and come back to it and record more. But she has over, I think by this time, probably like 150 to 200 self-notes and one long recording. So this is probably like at least a 30-minute to an hour recording. She's like, I am brave. I am confident. I am beautiful. I am all light. And so whenever she is in the car and she's like, well, just kind of maybe feeling down, she presses play and plays it in her car. And how, like, even like listening to self-talk, but the music you listen to, I've been listening to like the song Lucky Girl. I'm a lucky girl, and I'm like, everything that moves through me comes through me. It's divinely for me. Like songs like that, when you listen to them in the car, it's like you say it out loud and you hear it. I sing it. Even like, I think that she has such a beautiful voice, my friend. And so I'm like, you should even just record these in a singing voice. Like that would be so like a mantra to give out to the world.
Right. And so you can create, there's it's called Think Up app, just Think Up, and you can record all your recordings. And that was one of the things I did when I got out of my relationship that was really bad, that I went to the Think Up app and that did my own recording in my voices. I had Louise Hay in the beginning, and then there is something, like Ashlyn said, there's something so powerful about hearing your own voice, saying it back to you. And you're like, that's right, I am. And I did say this about myself.
Yeah. And maybe if you're visual painting these things,
Yes.
I think painting visuals of where you want to be, that's why vision boards are great too. But I think just whatever like really speaks to you.
Yeah.
Literally.
Do your own creative zone. Have fun with this. Just become creative with this, and even share it down below, like what you would do or what you would like to do. Become creative. We're going to move on into number 6.
Yeah, number 6. Get out of your damn comfort zone. Like, I think this was one thing for me that I realized as I was going through all these steps in my life. The more I stepped out of my comfort zone, the more I was like, yes, I can do this. Nothing can stop me but myself. So just being confident and respecting yourself in that manner. But it doesn't even have to be the biggest, boldest move ever. Like, you are starting a company, tomorrow, today. No, it can be going to the grocery store and making eye contact with somebody. It can be just smiling at somebody. Because, like, I feel like in our day and age, we're just always on our phones. I work at a store, and I've also just going to the store, I realized, like, people are just in their own worlds. We're just so distracted by so many things. And just taking that time to even just smile at somebody, say hello to somebody. Or if you're just like, I don't have any friends right now. This was me probably about 2 years ago. Go out and make friends. Be bold, be confident. And even if you get denied, that is okay, because we have self-talk. You're going to be like, I'm a great motherfucking friend. Okay.
Well, and break up with this story, because so often with my coaching and within my own self, we'll find ourselves in this story of the comfort zone. And it's called #excuse.
Yeah.
And it's just keeping us safe.
And lonely.
When you do something that's bold and creative, and this is where your gratitude comes in for showing up for yourself, that you're like, appreciation, like, oh my gosh, I was so freaked out. I was going to do that, public speaking or whatever. I'm so grateful I did that. I'm so proud of yourself. And it gets
so
easier.
rewarding. It's
It gets
so
easier.
rewarding.
I was
Yeah.
the shyest person growing up. And my dad actually put me in a shy class at the social service. Like, when you get out of our box, it was called getting out of the box. And I had to get and talk in front of everybody. Do you remember being in school and having to stand up and raise your hand? And then the embarrassment if you got it wrong, or the first time you had to read, like in first and second grade, it's your turn to read. And
you're counting down the paragraphs.
So that's really where the roots come from. And it really
the anxiousness
doesn't matter. So it's more of like just stepping in and realizing, okay, this might have been a huge thing I was scared of, but the next time you're asked to do something, it's not as scary, and then it's not scary.
You're creating those stepping stones.
My first boot camp, I didn't sleep the whole night before because I had so much perfectionism of like, this is going to run this way. And I went to boot camp, and I was so excited within 5 minutes, and the ladies were so excited, and we rolled it, and it was fabulous. And
so true too, because our brain wants to go to the worst case scenario. Think of the best case scenario, and like I've mentioned in the previous podcast, 90% of the time, probably more than that, your worst case scenario is never going to happen. So, and on top of that too, back to what I was saying about making a friend, we're all everyone I've ever met is all so alone in this world, and just smiling at somebody. We're all going through different things.
We are.
So just smiling at somebody,
let's bring back
and
the connection.
Making friends. Like, you think, oh no, I don't want to like bother somebody. I don't want to do that. But just going up to somebody, and even just like, I usually start initiating my friendships with just, I really love your bright eyes. I really love your outfit for today. Girl, you are rocking those boots, you know?
Who's going to not want to compliment? Seriously, that's genuine.
And also people just, I think we want connection right now. I know that I've been craving connection, especially after COVID, where I was just like, talk to me. Like, I really want somebody just to hang out with. So I guarantee that they're going to really want to be your friend, or even just talk to you. So many beautiful relationships start out of nowhere. I feel like that's where mine do. So
they really do. Just taking the risk and being okay with the outcome, right?
Well, you're so secure within yourself that you don't care.
Exactly. Because I've smiled at a lot of people that don't smile back, and I've had people smile at me and then be actually shocked. Like, they kind of look at me like, "Are you really smiling at me?" And then I smile even bigger, and then they smile back, and we've lost it seriously since 2020. This has got to come back in of just, the more we're loving ourselves, the more we're able to give love out there. But being the seeds of spreading love and having it, it's just, this energy needs to fill our world right now. I really feel that the love energies starts within, starts with us. And like I said, remember the compassion first. You might be listening to this right now and in a really dark place. So just start with compassion. I can't stress that enough. I'm feeling that I need to keep on entering that into this. But number 7,
stop comparing. Oh my goodness. And I see this with even myself with social media, the dating websites. You go on social media and you see Becky or Suzanne or Robert, just naming out random names, by the way, that you are just like, oh my gosh, they are living my dream life. Robert's driving this nice Ferrari. Becky has a fantastic husband. Suzanne is running her multi-million-dollar business. And you're like, I'm here in my room and I am just reading a book with my cat.
I'm a loser.
And I will never be where they're at. And I am at the age of 33 and they're my age and I should be where they're at. First of all, like I said, stop comparing. You are where you're meant to be right now in this very moment. But you don't even know, especially with, like I said, social media, where they are really at mentally. People can portray anything on social media. You can be the happiest, bubbliest thing, but you don't see that they were crying last night because they're just found out their husband had an affair. You don't see that maybe they're suffering through a big thing of like, maybe they're that multi-million-dollar business, they're suffering in health. They have massive depression. They are taking depression and medication, anxiety medication. They are feeling guilty because they're not spending time with their family. Maybe the guy with a Ferrari doesn't have anybody in his life. Maybe he feels alone. And you right now in this very moment have something. It doesn't even matter about what, being in the egoic state of, oh, well, I have this and I feel better than them. But maybe you have a really freaking amazing, loving family right now, and one of them just went through a death. You have that beautiful bond of being with people that support you. Or maybe you are growing and you're learning to love yourself right now in this moment, and that, one of those people, they can't find that self-love within themselves. So you need to realize that it is the killer of happiness when you are self-comparing.
Yeah, self-comparison is the killer of self-love, self-worth, and happiness. And so just if you need to take a social media break to step into this, take a social media break, or take the baby steps of limiting your time on social media. Maybe you only do 30 minutes less each day, and then it's another hour. It's going and creating new things too that you love, that you've actually let go of because of all the distractions that are out there. So maybe you do pick up like book, and it's okay to pick up that book. You pick up painting, or just even being more present with your family.
Yeah.
Connecting, calling someone you love instead of spending 1 hour on social media. You're calling and connecting with someone you haven't talked to for a minute. And then you get off that phone call and you're like, oh, that was so worth it. That was so amazing. I feel just great. And just noticing where you're getting nicked with your self-worth and your self-love, and then taking steps and actions to change it. It goes back to gratitude.
I was just about to say that. It all goes back to gratitude. If you have gratitude, you won't be comparing.
Right.
Not at all.
You won't.
You'll be like, I'm so grateful for what I have. There's been so many times where I see certain things and I'm like, wow, I should be doing that. Or, oh, this looks like, I wish I was going on more vacations. But then you just take a step back and you're like, wow, most people don't, have you ever posted a picture of you just in your worst freaking moment on social media, where you're literally like a scruff ball? Your hair's a mess. You're crying. Your whole life's falling apart. You're screaming at your kids because your dog is like running around with muddy paws everywhere, and just your car just broke down. No one sees that part in your life.
People's highlight reel mainly, and it's beautiful and it can be inspirational, but it's
limited.
Limited in the fact that if it's hurting you and your self-criticism, these steps that we've talked about today, just noticing the 7 areas that you can truly fall back in love with yourself, or fall deeply or more deeply in love with yourself, depending on where you're at. There's all these practices right here. And just even say, okay, you know what? I'm watching this. I'm not just going to listen to this. I'm going to take action on one thing.
Yes, take action on one thing. Just out of the 7.
I'm going to choose one thing today, and just see how easy it is, and actually really notice how great you feel. Okay, I journaled today my gratitude, or today I did say something to somebody at the store. It was a little sweet grandma, and I just said, I love your hair. It's so bright white. It's one of the prettiest white colors I've ever seen. And you see this bright smile come up. You're giving her love, but in return, do you not feel that return into your heart space of love given back to you? It's the mirror effect. And we are giving love to, we're doing our best to give love to other people. And I love the idea of saying, you know what, I just did that for Ashlyn, and I can do that for myself. Right? I love Ashlyn with all my heart. I love Ethan and Brendan. I love my children. They are my heart space. And now there's Jerome and Malay. And I know I'm naming out names, but the bottom line is when I'm feeling funky, I go into, okay, have compassion for myself in this moment. And I want to focus on what I'm grateful for, number one. And I want to turn this into a love energy. And maybe right now, genuinely, I'm feeling kind of achy for myself. I'm going to turn it into my children. You can turn it into your animal. But I can immediately go to my children, and it just like kind of starts to dissolve. Okay, I see things clearly now. I'm freaking out about some things, that this too shall pass. And I want to show up for myself, and I can show up for myself. So what is the next action step I can take to have it be different? Or what needs to happen right now for self-love to come in and just to nurture myself in this moment? I don't have someone around me, and I've got to take care of myself. And so one of the ways I've learned is when you start to get into that loving feeling, you start to do this to yourself, and you're in that loving feeling, you're training yourself that you love yourself, and you count from 1 to 20, and you're all the time you're doing this, you're just thinking of the person or the people, the things that you love, and you're bringing your own loving energy into it, but you're loving them. And then you count to 1 to 20, and then you think of yourself, and you just go into how much could I possibly love myself, and what can I do? Like, just go get deep, and like, what do I want right now? What is my spirit speaking to me? What do you need right now? And you just go into that. You're transferring that love into yourself and into the loving energy.
Rubbing those arms.
And then you're going to count from 1 to 20, and you're just going to feel that love. You're bringing this love in. You're bringing it in. Oh my goodness, I just love. And you're wiring your brain that you are the master of your ship. You're wiring your brain that I am the one that takes control of my happiness and my self-worth and my love. And in this moment, I can pull in love within 20 seconds. And because I love something so desperately right now, I may not be showing myself that kind of love, but I do freaking love my child, or I love my animal. And I'm just sharing this with you because it just came like as a download. But this is where your brain needs to feel like your brain connects here. Now your brain and your body are connected. Your spirit's going to step in. And I want to share this today. It's actually a therapeutic technique. It's very well known. And so I hope I taught it, like from the count from 1 to 20, as you bring in the love. You literally count as you're rubbing yourself, rubbing your arms, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you transfer it to yourself. That's amazing.
Well, on top of that too, it's like we're all uniquely ourselves, and honoring that. You don't want to be like Becky, Suzanne, and Robert. You know, you are you. You are on this journey, and your purpose is going to be fulfilled within the timing that it's meant to be. I think that's something I've needed to tell myself on repeat, because I'm just like, why am I not at this destination? Why am I not doing this? Why
expectations?
These expectations for yourself. And I have had to learn to detach from not being like that critical of myself and comparing, and being like, you know what? You are doing the best you can. You are being bold in this very moment, going out and talking on Spotify and YouTube, and doing Now Let's Love on Instagram, and doing everything that is intuitively speaking to you. That's what really matters, being your authentic self. And, you know, I think a lot of times we connect self-love with also not even self-care, because I think I got mixed up on that, especially early on. People will be like, hey, I have self-love. I take bubble baths every day and I get my nails done every week. But we're not talking about that. I think also I have got it messed up in my mind of, once I love myself, I'm going to have these amazing relationships, and it can come. It does come. But at the same time, I didn't realize that it was mainly me that was my hypercritical self. And so whenever I started really loving myself, I was like, well, why is this relationship being taken out of my life? Well, why is this job being taken out of my life? It's because you have these standards now. And those people previously that probably liked you because you didn't have any boundaries, or you were a little codependent, or maybe on top of that too, with not loving yourself as deeply, you just let a lot of shit slide. And I noticed that with myself, that I had a lot of things slide by, and that when I did these 7 things, I was able to connect deeper with the people that could get to that level of depth with me.
Right. There is something about you can only love someone as much as you love yourself. And so if you feel like you don't have anybody that's really deeply loving you, it starts from within. And that was a big awakening for me. Is how exciting is this? Is that the more I grow just one day at a time in love with who I'm being, and I'm going to be human, I'm going to make mistakes, but it's like we said, it's the renouncing of, like, it's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. I'm not going to beat myself up about it, even in the nutrition paradigm of I overate or whatever. Okay, I'm witnessing this. I have compassion because I kind of see a repeat cycle of this. What can I do about it? But I am going to come in with compassion and love and know that I'm capable of making great changes, and we're going to figure this out together. It's almost like you're having this beautiful relationship with yourself. You're the awareness of yourself, and your spirit is just all about love and joy and just peace and taking care of you. That big snuggle hugs. And that's how fast you can shift. We're wanting to give you easy, right? Easy practices that you can do right now. This isn't like, and then I've got to check this box. Check this box. No. This is just about what speaks to you on this list today. What speaks on you on this list maybe tomorrow. Like, save this episode and you can listen to it. You can write these things down and have it even up on
That's
your
why we literally say the greatest love story that you are ever going to tell is the one with yourself. That's why we say this, because you are the main character. All right, you are no longer the side character. Take control, be the creator of your life, because this is your lifetime of creating that love with yourself and being like, no, I deserve this. I deserve to be bold. I deserve not to be a self-critic. I don't deserve these negative talks. I deserve gratitude in my life. Everything that you want, you deserve. You really do. You deserve happiness. You deserve love. You deserve the finer things in life. You do. So start talking to yourself that way instead of being like, well, this is what it's always going to be. And I guess, this is the greatest relationship I'm going to be in because, I guess that I'm kind of halfway happy. I'm not alone. So, and I've heard that so many times from women and men that they're in these relationships because they just don't want to be alone. And don't think that way. Don't think that way at all. You deserve to be with the greatest man or woman, and because you find that within yourself. So that replicates out into the real world, whether you're looking for a friendship right now or just even a man-woman relationship, whatever your sexual orientation is, your romantic relationships, you can obtain those things. And I also am going to post some things on at Now That's Love, not only self-love for yourself, but self-love practices with your kids. Set them up early in the beginning, coming from somebody that has taught little kindergartners. The self-criticism starts at such a young age of the popular girls getting the guys, and you start being like, well, you start comparing already at a young age of 4 and 5, and you start getting attached to your thoughts even at the age of 5 and 6. This isn't just something that you wake up at 18 and I'm a perfectionist, I'm not taking care of my body. No, these are things that you develop through time. So I have some amazing tips that I want to post, just self-care tips that I'll be posting on at Now That's Love on Instagram, just to benefit. You can do it for yourself, so follow along for that if you don't have kids. But if you have kids, I think, why not start them off earlier so we're not passing down the things that we've already put on. So I've been doing some of these tricks with my son, and even just the mantras with him. We have a little breathe book in his room where whenever he gets upset, we have him do some different breath works. There's the lion breath work of breathing in through your nose and going roar, like the lion, taking those breaths. Or if your kid's really into bears, there's different things that you can do through breath works, even with your kids.
Self-love work, breath works. That's coming out. Will be in between episode, I think it's 30 and 31. I'm doing a I Love You breath work, and it'll be there. So Exactly. What you'll do for your kids too, giving it back. Ashlyn does it for Malay and she does it for herself. And
Mm-hmm.
what I have learned with doing with my children, what I would love to receive, I've got to do it for myself and also do it for them. The mirroring is
Honestly,
so
we are just giving so many bonus things on this episode. I swear. We are also going to do some fall recipes because like this whole episode is falling into self-love with 7 tips. But we're going to have some fun, like fall recipes. We're going to do some pumpkin stuff. And also on our Etsy shop, which will also be linked, we have some amazing anchors to help you with the self-talk process and really taking into consideration the things that you're doing every day to benefit yourself and to making sure that you're taking priority in yourself first. You're number one. And I think that's something I got wrapped up on, especially being a first-time mom. I wasn't taking time out for myself. And you need to do that at least 15 minutes every day.
I know it's kind of, I feel like it's become kind of sad that we have to think about, like we have to set a time aside when you think about you're doing your chores and you're saying, oh, I really love you today.
Yeah.
Or you're
even just putting on good music, good podcast.
Just like feeding your soul, feeding your mind, and feeding your body.
Mm-hmm.
Those are 3 things. Like, what are you giving yourself? As far as like self-love is the foundation.
It is.
To manifestation of great things that you desire in your life. And when you will know that you're not in that place. And believe me, I bounced into those places. I'm like, wow, I've stepped out of that's even saying I love you. It just took even one day. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much compassion.
The ego comes creeping in.
It's very sneaky when you're doing some of the different works. It's very sneaky where it wants to just like become dominant again. And so self-love is the diffuser. It's just the diffuser. And oh my gosh, you just attract blissful moments and a lot of loving moments. And it's almost like crazy how they come into your life. And then your focus is there. When you're doing so much self-love and self-compassion, that's what you start noticing. You just start noticing a lot of things that you love about yourself. You start noticing like things that you're doing well or things that you can improve upon. I made me feel off and I love myself and I just don't think that was the best action, but I'm not going to be hard on myself about it.
That will help you direct into your intuition. I noticed that with myself that whenever I did public speaking, I was so nervous in the beginning, but I craved being on video. I loved being on video and I loved recording myself. Like whenever I was giving presentations for school, it helped direct me to where I'm at now. Even just stepping out of my comfort zone and putting a submission in for this research paper that I did, or even my poems whenever I was in high school. It was a bold step that I had to do. But if I didn't take that leap if I would have been so critical within myself, then I wouldn't have done those things. Well, my paper is really not that good. Well, my poems aren't that good. Well, my artwork's whatever you're doubting yourself on, just taking that bold leap and seeing where it gets you. I ended up being able to be published. Now I'm doing this with recording. So even like the things that you're kind of nervous with, and then you feel like the energy and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting after I do this. I'm so glad I did this. This is actually feeding my soul. Honey, that is your intuition speaking to you to keep doing those things, whatever you're talented in. Maybe it's you're a great freaking cook and you're just like so nervous to either start that business or even just signing up for that competition, going on Food Network, whatever it is, just take the bold leap. You can't do anything. You can't progress in life if you're not taking a bold leap and following one of these 7 steps or going and following your desires and your dreams. Like say, all these creations that are out in this world, if they didn't take that leap, where would we be? We wouldn't have airplanes.
There's so many people that have died.
No cars.
So many people have died with their music in me. And when I heard that, it was probably about 15 years ago. And there's other things that have impacted my life. But I always thought, in 6 months, if I was to pass away, would I be okay with not taking this action? Or is my excuse
even tomorrow
stuck? And also, I was coaching somebody yesterday, and we were talking about how much she absolutely loves to dance. If that was her thing, she just would have a dance studio. She would do it for free. She just loves to dance so much. And I said, just start small. Start doing little videos of you dancing with your children. Like start the little action steps of what you absolutely love each day, because you are literally giving the energy, the quantum field of the world, this answer of like, I'm stepping into it. And you would be shocked at how so many people within 3 months, 6 months are literally living their dream.
Yeah,
then
it's true.
You just don't stay stuck in not taking action of it. Even just all of Ashlyn and my story, it was the little action steps that got us here. And sometimes it was extremely bold action step that freaked us out, that did a bigger leap. And
we're going to keep seeing these leaps go to different places.
You're going to just keep on seeing them. But when I was talking to her and I could see the excuses happening, I said to her, you have 3 children. In 10 years from now, what will they be saying about you at the age frame in college? About, hey, my mom did this. And she goes, oh my gosh. And I said, sometimes we do things for people we love more. Yes. It ends up showing up for ourselves even greater. Yeah. And that's that self-love. But you will make decisions. And my child is going to be so proud that I'm being the example. And when I say go live your dreams, I'm living my dream.
You made me cry over here. It's just exactly, it's funny because I was like, I feel like we're telepathically doing this right now. I literally was just thinking everything you said about Malay whenever I was doing things in the very beginning with like school and just like starting this. I wanted him to be like, let me get composure.
That's okay.
I just wanted him to be able to be like, well, yeah, my mom got pregnant with me, but she still like fulfilled her dreams of being a teacher. And yeah, I was 4 years old and I was a crazy toddler, but she still started Now That's Love with my Gigi. Like, he gets to look back at these videos, him and my little ones in my tummy right now. They both get to look back at these videos and be like, I was in my mom's tummy while she was filming this. And they get to see me still giving them that present moment, that attention, but not stopping my creative soul to like pause my entire life, you know? And I feel like as parents, we feel like so guilty in fulfilling our dreams and I feel like I was so hypercritical of, you know, being a first-time mom and just feeling like I'm losing time, the mom guilt. But now I'm like, no, like you said, in 10 years, whenever he's in high school, which is weird to say, and he's almost 10 years old, they're going to be able to look back and be like, holy crap, like I have no excuses. My mom did this, my dad did this, my Gigi did this. And they get to have that example of what self-love and taking that time out for themselves really can do for themselves. And I want to set that example so much for them that they can accomplish those things. So pregnancy hormones.
That's okay. It was my power cord to create my fitness and nutrition business because my children were my main factor when I started doing that walk.
Sometimes you just need that.
Now That's Love has come from divine intervention of shifting, and I've thought of my 3 children, and so.
And you're doing a lot better in life than you think you are. I think that's something
hard on yourself.
That I've had to tell myself that even now, all the things that I was doing and that I am doing, I used to have so many people tell me, I don't know how you do it. How are you doing this and doing that? How do you find any time for this? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just doing it right now. I'm just following what I feel like I need to do, even though I'm exhausted, but I'm doing what I feel like I'm meant to do with my kids, with my education, with my business, everything. And a lot of people right now, I'm looking at you guys on the screen. A lot of people are looking at you and they're like, how is she doing it right now? How is she working those 40 hours? How is she taking care of her 2 kids? How is he even being able to take care of his family, provide? You know, there's so many different things.
Has stories. Everybody's going through stuff and doing their best.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Do your best.
This just ran a little bit longer, but I love it because this is just us talking from our pure hearts.
We might be doing this more often, just us together, because But we're just doing our best. And so this is not an episode to be like, oh, I should have been doing more self-love. This is not about any type of criticism.
It's never about the beat up game.
Judgment. It is all about coming and just being the biggest lover of your soul, of your mind and your body for yourself. Like you are that for yourself. And I'm telling you, when we lose sight of this, we feel alone. We feel like suffering. We start nitpicking all the little things. We get distracted with the silliness of the games of the systems of the life of not enough this, not enough that, or I need more of this, I need more of that. And the ego just takes over. And you are, like Ashlyn said, the main character of your play, or the driver of your car, the captain of your ship. It is us. But with being that self-love, you end up having this environment and world that comes in and you see things in a different light, and you're surrounded by love and safety and security, and things start showing up in your life differently, and you aren't needy. Like there's that not enoughness and need.
Yes.
And we've all been there. Definitely.
And then I feel like too, even though I've practiced these self-talks and everything, there is times where Fifi and Coco come in my brain. Yeah. And I'm like, after leaving a conversation, I might be a little hypercritical, but the thing is it's not a 3-day thing. It's not a 3-hour thing. It's a 3-second thing. And I'm like, I am more than enough. And we're going to cut this out.
Renounce it. That is not my truth. Hi, Fifi. How's it going?
No, you are a great friend. I had to tell myself a lot whenever I was going through I'm a great friend.
She really is an amazing friend. And it's so funny that we walk through things that we really actually are good at, but we have learned self-criticism in such a way that we diminish it into nothing. And it's time for us to all step into our power and say, actually, I am an amazing poet, and I decided I'm going to show up with that. And I love my poetry so much that it doesn't matter whatever comes, what people think of it. I love it. Yeah. And I meant to share this with the world. And so I'm going to share my songs. I'm going to share my amazing recipes. I'm going to share my artwork. I have seen with working and coaching with people, I'm like, holy crap, you had that hidden.
Well, on top of that too, just because somebody else is doing it, because I used to think that too. Oh, well, somebody else has already written that, or somebody else has already said that. Maybe it will go to somebody else that really needs it. Maybe the way they said it didn't connect with that person's brain, but the way that you're going to say it is going to connect. They hear you. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm connecting with her story. I'm connecting with what she's saying, or even what they're drawing, what they're cooking, what their passion is. Those things, I realized that think about it. There is over 100+ books out there about think about the cookbooks that are out there. There is thousands and thousands of cookbooks out there. Why would I need 50 chicken pot pie recipes?
But one's going to speak to you.
But one out there is going to have just the right amount of pepper.
Cut your kitchen.
Yes. Right amount of butter. It's going to give me the right amount of diabetes. No. That is there's so many different things. So add your recipe to life. Add your story to this world. Don't sit back and be like, somebody else has already done that. Oh, all these influencers that are out there, even just on Instagram. Think about all the women that are doing workout videos. Maybe one person, their journey is a little bit different than I connect with, for me being a mom, I connect with women that tell their postpartum story and how they lost weight and got healthy after postpartum because they understand the struggle.
And so mine would be going into perimenopause, menopause. Yeah. You're dealing with the hormones, and
your story is all different. So it's you're going to, all our uniqueness.
Yeah. Sharing our uniqueness. And the thing is, we have all been given at least one very unique talent to share with this world. Like we said, 5 years now, 10 years from now, even 6 months. I do the 6-month game.
Yeah. Even 3 months too.
I would say, what are my gifts and how can I share them? That is on a daily thing. What is today? What actions are for today that my spirit wants to share with this world. Like, all about service and sharing. It's not the codependent service where I feel, you're like, oh, I have to do this because this is my worth. It is
Yeah.
because my soul wants to be heard. It wants to walk the walk that it really truly had planned out to walk. And here's my vessel, and I better be taking care of this vessel, and I better be self-aware of my mind, because my mind can completely put me in a freeze mode or make me suffer. And then I've lost 5 days of self-deprecation of like, me, like, and I've done that. So that's why I can say it. Like, I have done that.
Everything we've mentioned, for sure.
My spirit steps up like, come on, girlfriend.
We've walked through it.
I love you to pieces. And this is not our story, but we do go through suffering to evolve and to recognize we don't want anymore. Why do we think we have those kind of emotions? Like I said, from the heart space, I feel the emotion. I am seeing my story, I'm telling myself, and go down to paper or to memo. You start to see your cycles. You start to see, oh, this keeps on popping up. Or, wow, I've done this several times, and I know that I'm going to go investigate how to shift it. How am I going to shift this? I know there's people out there that could teach me how to not do this or that. That's why the self-love game.
Yes. Love yourself so deeply that that's all that really, truly will define you.
Yeah. And we're just going to end here with lots of love to you, from our heart to your heart. You guys are the bestest. And
yeah, and like I mentioned, there's going to be lots and lots and lots of fun things that are going to be popping up on our Now That's Love. And subscribe and follow us here, because we are here to spread the love, and we love your love.
And share this episode with anybody that would, your heart would
benefit
from. So much love.
Bye, guys.